Hello everybody and welcome to another Pretty Gig Gaming podcast. This is episode number 84. Hello a croeso I podcast rhif 84. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans and joining me today is Mr. Henry All Lights on Me Cooper.
We've got lights for days. There's a new light there and it is very bright and it's quite distracting, but I mean it makes my face look prettier, I suppose, marginally, some might say.
And since you're the star of the show, it makes sense that all lights on you, right?
Well, I mean, if there was a spotlight, then I feel like that'd really seal the deal. A spotlight.
Maybe we can sort that out for Christmas. You never know what Santa's going to bring you.
So either a spotlight or a disco ball. Add a bit of funk to proceedings.
Maybe for the 100th podcast. Maybe we'll see if we can sort something out for that. So welcome along, everybody. We're here to chat shit, basically, about games. And if you're the first time that you're listening to us, welcome. We do this every week, so get comfortable. We'll be here for a while. Today we've got a few things on the agenda. Simply having a scalper-ful Christmas time is the segment that I've named. I'm not going to elaborate too much on that just yet.
Surely it should be you're simply scalping a wonderful Christmas time. I feel like that's the better place for the rhyme. I mean,
we're only 2 minutes in and you're already questioning my creative input today. Well, I'm going to let that one slide, Henry. We'll move on.
What can you do?
I mean, we can vote for what the best title is. I mean, I mean, simply having a scalper-ful Christmas time is fine.
You're struggling to say it. Because
I'm questioning whether I should even pursue this line of thought. Just get on with the bloody podcast. That's why I'm. Yeah, I know. I've had a great start already. Anyway, after that, obviously we got some other stuff to discuss, but then we'll be moving on to Metal Shock's Quiz of the Week, Discord questions after that, Triggered Fanboy comment of the week, everybody's favourite, some other YouTube comments of the week after that, and finish off with the bad dad joke of the week. So first up, chit chat. Henry, tell me about your week, what you've been playing, what you've been doing, having fun. Are you ready for Christmas? Are your decorations up? Have you got everything ready and wrapped? And I want to know the details, man. Come on.
I haven't done enough revision for all of these bloody questions. What was the first one? What have I been playing? A little bit of Gears Tactics. Well, quite a lot I've played quite a lot of it, but I'm not like that far through because it's kind of quite repetitive in the sense that, here's a main mission with a bit of story stuff you've got to do, and then we're going to stop you doing that for a bit and make you do side missions, which are very repetitive. Like, I'm still having fun, it's still good, but the story side of things is quite weak. And Gears stories aren't very complicated. They're simple, burly blokes doing burly bloke things, but I still really like them. They do have a real charm to them when, like, it's hard to describe a chainsaw cutting through a ugly subterranean monster as charming, but it's just how I feel. So I've been enjoying that, but it's at the point now where I'm like, okay, can I just have a little bit more? You're really drip feeding it to me now. But it's good. I fought one of the bosses recently. I fought a Corpser, which is the giant spider-like thing. It's like my favourite Gears monster. It's quite iconic. And that was a real pain in the arse kind of fight. But I think it was just hard enough. And I think that's something I'm quite enjoying about this. It throws loads of bullshit at you. Like, it always looks like it's horrifically unfair. It's like, all right, you've got a 4-person team. We're going to send loads of different guys at you with loads of different abilities, and you're just going to have to make do. And I'm like, oh, fuck that. That's not fucking fair. How am I supposed to do that? And then I'll still smash it. So it makes me feel smart because it looks hard, but then I'm like, oh, no, I've got it. It's easy. It's not actually that challenging is what I'm trying to say. Like, it looks like it is, but you have more than enough power to deal with the situation.
I think in terms of the the XCOM turn-based combat thing, it does iterate a little bit in the sense that it allows you to bounce off each of your characters. So it allows you to achieve more than you first think you're able to, because each character can kind of buff the other one and allow give an extra move or whatever. And it does make you feel clever in that way, because it doesn't feel like you can actually pull it off, and then before you know it, you've annihilated everyone, and it's a good feeling, that.
And I can't remember if you can do it in XCOM, but you can switch between characters like within their turn, so that you can get 3 actions per turn, which can be like a movement, an attack, and then like maybe something else, or another movement or another attack. But I can like move one person somewhere and use just one of their actions, and then be like, okay, let's see what I can do with this person over there,
Yeah.
shoot them, then that'll move the enemy in a better position for this guy who can then shoot them from that. So I feel like it gives you a lot more tactical opportunities if you spread everyone out and use like one turn each, then another turn each, then another turn each. Or action rather, not turn. Use one action before their turn. You know what? You got
Yeah. No.
Next question. Something about Christmas. I forbid Christmas things to go up until my birthday's passed. And I do not think that is unreasonable at all, because my birthday is on the 1st of December, which is on Tuesday.
Wow. Didn't know
my
that.
girlfriend is itching to. I've got Christmas stuff literally here. Right, got a bit of tinsel. She's
just strewn on the floor.
Yep. Well, no, it was in a bag. I did have to yank it out. But yeah, she's really excited about it, and I think because 2020's been a pretty shit year, I think everyone can agree with that one. So she's quite eager to get on the Christmas hype train, into the Christmas spirit, and I'm being a Grinch at least until the 1st, the 2nd, and then I'm like, boom, all in, let's go. But my birthday's got to get out of the way first.
Yeah, I mean, we're a bit different. We've got young kids, and I've got a wife who's very eager to get stuff. She's gone lights crazy this year. She's got the whole back fence in the back garden just covered in lights. She's like, well, if we're going to have to stay here, because sometimes we go away for Christmas, whatever, and that's not possible now during the lockdown. If we're going to have to stay here, we're not going to be spending much on so I'm going to get loads of light, and everything's up. It went up on Sunday. All the decorations up. The hall is like the banister and the stairs just covered, absolutely covered. You got big baubles hanging off the stairs that you whack your head as you walk up the stairs, covered in tinsel wrapped around all the. I mean, it's bedlam in my house right now, and it's not even. It's not even
still November,
December. It's like a month away, and what's given me the most pleasure, I guess, is that I'm so ready for Christmas. All my presents are pretty much bought, and I'm never like this. I'm a December the 24th kind of guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm always down Real High Street on the 24th of December, seeing what I can pick up from Superdrug or a 3 for 2 in Boots. Do you know, I'm that kind of guy. Yeah. And I'm a month away from this from Christmas now, and I've got not a sweat. I haven't got to sweat anything this Christmas, and that feels good, man. It's the first time ever I'm ready for Christmas this early, and I don't know, it's liberating.
Well, I think my Christmas, I've got a reasonably large family, but obviously with everything going on, that's going to be shrunk down. But even just like my household, it's me as one of four kids. Well, not kids anymore, I'm the youngest and we're all adults, but like 4 of us, and then my mum and stepdad, and then there's my dad and stepmom, and they've got 2, well, one who still lives there, one who's not there anymore, so I assume he'll be going back. But anyway, but with my mum's side, we've decided to really simplify it even further, and we're only doing a Secret Santa type thing, where it's there's husbands and wives and stuff like involved as well, so it's a little bit bigger, but it means that I don't have to buy like a million presents for a million different people. I've only got to get one, and because it's at home, I just bought it on Amazon and had it delivered home, so whenever I arrive, I'll be like, right, let's just take that out of the box, immediately wrap it, and then chuck it under the tree. Job's good. And it's been very, very simple. I mean, I'll still probably get like my mum something anyway, just because she's your mum and you got to be nice to your mum. But yeah, Christmas is going to be much smaller for us. Normally it's quite big with a lot of extended family and the husbands and children. There's loads of children now. I've got my niece and nephew who are born. They're little lockdown babies, so they should be there. That should be sweet. That's honestly one of the things I'm looking forward to the most. It's like, I don't really care about babies, but those 2 are really cute. One's super like laughy and excited. The other one, he's very serious. He's a very stern looking baby. He takes things very seriously.
Like an old grumpy old man already.
Yeah.
Right then. So on that note, let's move on to actually I might talk a little bit about what I've been doing this week. So for those of you who aren't aware, I live in the most rural part of North Wales, which is like a countrified country as it is, right? And I've recently had FTTP installed, and for those of you who don't know what that means, it means that I've got lightning fast internet now at my house. And I did a speed test this morning. 1.1 gigabits was the speed a download, and that is just astronomical. It's like the fast. I'm so excited now. I can download games within minutes. You know, you're talking 50 gigabyte a game. Oh, that's huge. 100 gigabyte for a game these days. That's huge. I can do it within an hour, man. That's how good it is. I'm so chuffed.
It's the dream.
I'm living the dream. I literally am. So I've been dabbling, right? I've been dabbling on the streaming. I've been trying a little bit of my Xbox Game Pass streaming thing. Don't know what they even call it anymore. But it's
xCloud, is that the Xbox?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they've changed the name on that, but it's still in beta on the mobile devices. And I played a little bit of Mass Effect Andromeda. I just jumped in with it on my mobile phone. I've got this like I was using my Xbox controller with like a clip that got given to us by Metal Shark, and I was streaming, and it was all right. It was dropping out so often, so I think that's more like the stream, because obviously my internet connection is stellar, so it couldn't have been that. So again, it's still in beta, so we'll let them off. I've been dabbling with that, and also, looking at Games Pass and that, I downloaded and installed, and we've been playing Alan Wake this week, and so it's my first time playing the game. It's made by Remedy, who recently made Control, and also previously made what was that game?
It's coming to Quantum Break. They did Quantum Break.
Yeah. So yeah, have you played Alan Wake at all?
I played it like this year when there was a bit of a lull again on Game Pass. First time I've ever played it, and it is very old. It's not very, very old, but it's a 360 generation kind of game. So in that way, it does feel a little bit dated.
2010, I think it came out, right?
Something like that.
The first thing that struck me, right, just as a little revisiting of an old game for those of you who are interested, it struck me is that the controls are so weird. I'm playing it on PC, and it seems like the third-person camera, it's in third person, right? But the third-person camera always takes me, if I'm trying to line up my crosshair or whatever, or the center of my screen, it always like lines him up to looking right. So I feel like I've always got to correct my aim to be looking left a bit, because it feels like, I don't know, it just feels weird the way that the way that your camera's angled, essentially.
And I think the default kind of third-person camera setting these days is over the shoulder, but over the right shoulder, so your character's on kind of the left side of the screen. But I kept finding that in Alan Wake, he's on the right side of the screen, but I think it's probably because he has the torch in his left hand, so that you've got a little bit more freedom with that, maybe. Yeah. But it's just kind of odd, and at odds with how other games do it. It's not necessarily to say that's wrong, but it doesn't feel natural after having played so many games where it's structured a certain way and then going into that. Yeah. But on balance, I really liked it. I thought it was really fucking weird. There's nothing like it, and I liked that it's all like you can pick up the manuscript pages which are foreshadowing certain things to come, but you don't necessarily know that yet. And I think that there's loads of interesting storytelling elements in it, which I think are really, really cool, especially for a game about a story.
The story in it is very good, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, you play the role of Alan Wake, who's a famous writer a la Stephen King, right? So you're basically Stephen King in this game world, and you've had writer's block for a couple of years, and you're struggling to write your new book. You go on holiday to this place, something like I don't know where it is, and you lose a week of your time. Your wife gets kidnapped, or she's missing, or whatever, and there's a huge mystery. You've got to try and figure out what's going on, and then you're running through the woods, and there's like weird kind of ghost shapes coming at you that die when you shine a torch and shoot them. So it's all very mysterious and dark and gritty, and it's interesting, it's intriguing. There's a mystery to unravel. You got to figure out what happened to yourself, and you're as Henry mentioned, you're running around picking up pieces of paper that you wrote. So it's pages out of your manuscript that you've written, but they're foreshadowing. They're literally telling the story that you're about to live. So you can kind of read what's about to happen, and that's all very mysterious. Trying to figure out what's going on there, and in that way, it's a very this is a game from 2010. And what I like about it is that it is dark and gritty, and it's delving into the psychosis or some sort of psychological issue that Alan Wake might be having, your player character.
You're not sure if what you're seeing is real, and if you are really sort of predicting the future, or it's his just descent into madness as part of his crazy writer's block thing going on.
It's ultimately that sci-fi aspect where you're not sure whether it's real or it's not real, and it's got a lot of parallels with Max Payne from I like that from what I remember, I like that aspect where you're not quite sure and you're living this kind of mystery but you're trying to puzzle out. Anyway, I haven't quite completed it. I'm like 3 chapters in out of 6, I believe, so I'm halfway through, and I'm enjoying it to a certain extent. It does get a bit grind. I mean, there's only so much running through a forest, pointing a torch at some random. The gameplay is repetitive, and I'm thinking maybe it needs a little bit more. Maybe it's just a dated game. Maybe it's just the game just doesn't the gameplay doesn't carry through these days. It's just a bit dated. I don't know about that. But other than that, I think I'm having a good time with it. Alan Wake, awesome.
Yeah, definitely recommend it.
Especially because it's Game Pass and that's absolutely free. The other bit of news this week before we move on to our first segment is that I finally got myself. It kind of ties in with the first segment. I finally got myself a graphics card to play Cyberpunk. Now, I was in 3 minds, right? Do I buy a PlayStation? Do I buy an Xbox if I can bloody get hold of them? Or do I just upgrade my PC, get myself a spanking new RTX graphics card and play Cyberpunk on that? Because Cyberpunk is coming up on my birthday. For those of you who didn't know already, my birthday is on December the 10th, the same day as Cyberpunk is released. And I was like, how am I going to play this game? I don't really want to play on consoles because it's controller and it's a first-person game. I want to play mouse and keyboard, so that was my decision. I'm going to get myself a graphics card. But then I'm faced with the brick wall of there's just no stock. I was looking at 3080s, RTX 3080s, RTX 3070s, thinking if I can get all the stock, if I can get all the, just one unit, and that obviously raises the question of availability of these new technology and scalping and all that, which kind of leads into the next segment. But I did get hold of a 3070, which is being delivered today. So hopefully that arrives in one piece. It's not being pre-used to or whatever. Hopefully it works and it fits in my computer in my case. And then I can play Cyberpunk with ray tracing on in its glorious, in the way it was meant to be played. There's my resolution. For those of you who were concerned that whether I would or would not get to play Cyberpunk with ray tracing on my birthday, which I wholly deserve to do, hopefully that situation has been solved now. So there you go. And for those of you who are wondering how I got hold of it, Stock Informer UK, I went on their website, joined their Discord channel and set up notifications to inform me the second stock gets posted. And basically there's a website I got it from, because all these websites are crashing every time there's new stock confirmation. Like Curry's PC World, it just crashes. Like there's just all these scalpers probably with their bots, but we'll get onto that. But Novatech is where I got it from. Basically, how you do it, you've got to register for an account, add your payment details in already, get everything, all your delivery details. That's got to be all set up ready, so that when a notification comes through Discord or whatever, if you set up on email alerts or whatever, all you've got to do is click the link, add it to your basket, check out, done. You've got to be that quick, because otherwise it'll take it out of your basket if you're not quick enough putting in all information like your delivery address and your payment information. I had that happen to me 3 or 4 times, and on the time that I got it, it was because
I feel like you're being robbed. Like you haven't even bought it yet, and they are taking it from you.
Yeah, they took it out of my basket, and I'm like, you mother. I was so gutted. Anyway, there's going to be more stock in, so hopefully the scalpers don't get everything. For those of you who are still interested in getting a graphics card or whatever, then there's your option. That's my experience anyway. Anyway, with that all said, we're simply having a scalper-ful Christmas time, right, Henry? Or simply scalping a wonderful Christmas time.
Let us know which is your favourite.
Obviously,
I think it fits the rhythm and melody of the song, which I will not sing for you right now.
Wonderful, scalper-ful. I mean, it's the same, man. It's the same.
Scalping and having, they've got the same vowels, so it's closer.
Scalping, yeah. If you're scalping a wonderful Christmas time, that means you're the scalper and you're having a wonderful time because you're scalping. If you're simply having a scalper for Christmas time, that applies to everyone, because everyone is a subject to the scalpers.
I was thinking from the perspective of a scalper, because it's wonderful for the scalpers. It's potentially less good for anyone else, because you could get a dodgy unit.
So,
if you get one at all.
With that in mind, let's tell people what the story is, right? So,
we're fucking 20 minutes into this. We've not even got to the main story.
Well, we'll be filling it in because we haven't got one feature this week, but we did pretty well. So PlayStation 5 stock is just non-existent now, and if you're struggling to get yourself a unit in time for Christmas, you will be...
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you. So, like I said, I mean, you can sign up to these online stock notifications, but you find that websites just crash. Like Walmart, there's reports that Walmart's been crashing whenever the stock arrives, and there's like Curry's PC World in the UK, that just crashes. So...
I'm really glad we're covering this now, because I was going to in the week, but then I think I picked some other stories instead and didn't end up doing it. So I think I saw someone comment saying, like, are you going to talk about this? And I was like, yes, just give me a fucking minute, all right?
Yeah, we're talking about it. So if you're facing this issue and you're not sure why, I think we've spoiled it already. It's the bloody scalpers, man. So we learned this week. I think the first I saw it was there was a tweet by ex-journalist, what's her name? Alana Pierce. She tweeted, "This is infuriating," about an article from Business Insider was saying that was a scalper group in the UK called Crap Chief Notify. They claim to have acquired over 1,000 pre-orders of PlayStation 5, and then since launch they've acquired 2,500 PlayStation 5s in order to resell them for profit at
a higher rate.
So that's what the article was, because they were interviewed by Business Insider, and many people, you might have seen if you've been on social media, these pictures of like just big like rooms filled with PS5s, and like a guy in front of it. There's one with a guy just sat there in front of him, and he's like gloating that he's got all these PS5s, and everyone who hasn't got one is completely infuriated, to use Alana Pierce's words. And it's obvious to see that this is happening, and this is just one group. Who knows how many other groups are doing it? And
this isn't unique to this year, by the way. It happens every fucking time. It's just that this year there happens to be a bit more of a supply shortage because of Foster's fever and all that. Being able to manufacture the damn things is slightly harder than usual.
Yeah. So it's difficult enough to get a hold of one, and these people, there's a company with the Crap Chief Notify was worst name of company ever, but they've got 12 employees apparently, and they've got a big group of people subscribe to them. And what they do is people subscribe to them in order to, quote, so that paying members get access to a variety of services intended to facilitate the purchase of highly sought after products that can be resold, often for a handsome profit. That's Business Insider's words. So basically they're selling like software or whatever, bots, which can log you in and check out of a website when there's stock a lot quicker than a human could. So when stock's available, a bot tells them when stock, because the bot's searching for stock. As soon as the stock's available, the bot will buy it automatically within fractions of a second or however long it takes. And then the humans got no chance, because they're lowly humans and they're not machines, or they're not AI, and they can't do it. So this is where the problem is. And then that's they've got a big bunch of stock then they can resell on eBay, and sometimes selling for twice the price from what I've seen. So what are your thoughts on all this to begin, Henry? What do you think about all this? Are you infuriated?
Well, I mean, infuriated, it's a very strong word. Scalping, it's such a legal grey area. Morally, I don't think it's right. Like 9 times out of 10, to sell it, to be the seller, to buy something and then flip it for more, because most of the time, my perspective is that you're fucking over a great amount of people so that you can benefit. So, and people will then pay more for the scalped version than they will for the official one. It's Sony's thing. They're still getting money because they're still getting paid by the scalper, unless they've like robbed them or anything like that. But off the back of a trolley type deal. Lorry. Jesus, our words are all over the place today. And a lorry, for you non-British viewers, is a truck.
A truck.
Yeah, generally, I really don't like it. But so my girlfriend told me about one. I think she saw on like this morning. It's like a breakfast show, where some made in Chelsea person, and again, so I'm having to do a lot of non-English caveats here. So Made in Chelsea is one of these reality shows, but this time it focuses on the absolute, upper class
Jersey Shore
wanker pricks. Yeah, but like Jersey Shore, but if they were all super posh, sons of lords and politicians and shit. Yeah. One of those wankers. I mean, maybe he's not a mad wanker. Maybe he's a lovely person. But you know what I mean when I call them wankers. They're dickheads, right? They're annoying, fucking chilling on a yacht.
It's not from your part of London, though, are they?
Russian supermodels and all that shit. I'm definitely not jealous. But anyway, one of these goons got given a PlayStation 5 by presumably Sony, and then like put it on his Instagram or whatever. 'Cause I guess he's an influencer. And was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play this game. Then said in a subsequent message, oh, I prefer my PS4, which is like, I mean, objectively, the PlayStation 5 is a superior system because it's more powerful and plays all of the well, again, not all of them, but pretty much fucking all of them. Because some fuckwit's going to be like, actually, you can't play Banana Frenzy 46. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So yeah, then he said he prefers his PS4, then apparently sold his PS5 for a considerable profit. He sold it for like $1,000 or something, which currently looking at eBay,
given it for free. Wow.
Yeah, eBay right in front of me. The top one after searching PS5, Sony PS5, PlayStation 5 console, disc edition with Spider-Man game, brand new, 1,397. And then the immediate one below it, new PS5 console, just the console, disc version as well, and that's 750. So it's massively above Sony's price. So yeah, this guy supposedly sold his PS5 that was given to him as a gift and sold it and made profit. I'm quite sure, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm quite sure that is actually illegal because it's considered like sponsorship, right? You can't then sell. You can give it away. I think you can give it away, right? But I don't think you can sell. I might be wrong there.
I think I would assume that they give it you. That's your price of. They pay you with that console. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it as long as you fulfill your obligation to promote
it. Talk about it. Yeah. So this is what I mean. Scalping in general is such a grey area, but on balance, I really don't like it. If you are a scalper, I can see
anybody likes it, right? Apart from the scalpers.
Yeah, I can see it going to scalpers. I'm a bit more open to, because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Although if you're paying 700 quid for a PlayStation 5, that's on you. I think you're a mug for doing that.
Let's talk about the responsibility, right? Let's talk about who's to blame in the situation, because no consumer likes this, paying over the odds and having artificially scarce products because there's people scalping, right? So let's talk about the parties involved, because it's not simple. It's not just scalpers. Who should we be infuriated with is the question that I want to ask her. The scalpers are the obvious choice. Like, it's fucking scalpers trying to make profit, trying to profit off our desire. Is it really those people who are just fulfilling? It's supply and demand, isn't it? If they can use technology to get hold of these products and hoard them and then sell them, it's supply and demand. If the supply was there, then if there was more supply, there wouldn't be a profit in scalping.
Yeah.
So that raises the question: is it Sony's fault? Is it?
It's the most like quintessentially capitalist thing. Whether you agree with capitalism or not,
system,
it's like whatever.
Right?
It is part of the market. And the Sony thing is an interesting one. Sony is partially to blame for, maybe it's not necessarily their like fault, but the supply issues, not being able to produce enough copies, which forces consumers into the hands of scalpers. And I don't mean forces in like gun to their head or anything, but they're left with no other choice if they do want a PS5.
Yeah, that's true, because if there was 100 million PS5s available to buy, scalpers don't exist. Scalpers go elsewhere. Yeah. They find another
there's no profit
hole to crawl into. Exactly. So some of the responsibility has to lie in the manufacturing, the production side, which is Sony. The other question is the retailers, right? So on these online checkout, websites, they allow people. If they allow people to just use bots, then what chance has mere humans got? There's been suggestions that if you had like a capture just at checkout, then that would stop or at least slow down the bots from just purchasing over and over and over again. So then again, retailers don't give a flying hoot who they sell to. As long as they're out of stock, they've made maximum profits, right? They sell out retail or just, a slight markup, whatever they're doing right now. So is there any burden of responsibility on the retailers? I would say bloody yes, myself personally.
A lot of them do these days. A lot of them limit, especially for big things. You can only buy one per account. And yes, you can make other accounts and send them to like other addresses or whatever. But it's still extra steps. It's still an extra thing that a human being or the bot has to try and go through, which does make it at least a little bit harder. So yeah, I absolutely think retailers should, maybe not a legal responsibility, but a moral responsibility.
Yeah. Add a capture or something like, click on the 5 PS5s in...
Which one of these is a PS5?
Yeah, exactly. Which one's an Xbox One X or Series X, whatever they're called. So then the final party, which has some responsibility for this, has to bear some of the blame, are the people paying the bloody scalper prices. If people don't pay those prices, the scalpers just go away and hide. But again, it's always like is supply and demand. I always go back to this. I don't think there's enough of a burden of responsibility on the people paying those prices, because this is how the system works. If there's a supply and demand, and I always think about when I used to play any online game when there's a market to buy and sell. But I think of EVE Online, right? I used to play that as a trader. I used to go to a certain area, buy up loads of stuff that was pretty cheap, go to somewhere else and sell it for a profit. That's essentially what these scalpers are doing. They're basically making lots of money by buying up as fast as they can and then selling at a premium where people want them. But they're doing it on a global scale. I mean, not as galactic scale as EVE Online is, but they're doing it. They're taking stock from one market and then fulfilling it in a different market. Yeah, it's one website to another website, and they're physically distributing them by getting them in and selling them on. But that's the way I see it, right? Was I a scalper in EVE Online? Is that what I was doing, or was I just fulfilling supply and demand?
Yeah, I mean, on the opposite side of the galaxy or universe, it's quite different, because you're paying for the convenience, really. Let's go into the EVE Online sort of universe. You don't necessarily have the means to get from your, I don't know, what's it called? Like a quadrant? Your sector?
Your star system.
Oh, yeah, we'll go. You don't necessarily have the means to get from your star system to where the goods are being sold. So you, little humble space merchant, we'll bring you the thing, which will be 10% more expensive than it is over there, but it's going to cost you more than that 10% difference to get over there. So I'm going to make a little bit, you get the thing, happy days. These scalpers aren't actually making things any more convenient. It's more easy to argue that they're making things harder, because it's harder to verify whether it's real. You don't know if you'll get a dodgy unit or if you'll get a unit at all. Or if you actually get the right thing you order, because a lot of them, I mean, there's always the meme of if it says being delivered from China, don't fucking buy it, because it's probably going to be a knockoff. Because I mean, they're the country for mass producing shit like that. So the amount of fake PS5s that are going to be in the wild, or like they look like it walks like it, talks like it, but when you actually try and turn it on, it doesn't do anything.
It's like a toaster on the inside or something, or an actual router. Or there'll be like region locked models. Like you live in Europe, they'll give you the Asian model, which won't compute with the games of that area. So there's so many extra things you have to worry about buying from a scalper. So it's harder than if you're buying from the official, from Sony. Yeah. I mean, my takeaway from all of this is that I don't blame scalpers. Scalpers are just doing what they do in order to make money. They're just this is just the system. I don't think this should be illegal. I really don't. I think there should be better things in place in order to protect people from scalping. Like the retailer should step in and only allow a person from one IP to buy one every 10 minutes, for example, or like have the capture thing. And then Sony and whoever manufactures these things, they've got to burden some of that responsibility, and they've got to try and help or prevent retailers from allowing scalpers. They've got to step in and just help the situation, because it's ultimately it's their supply that is short. And
where do you draw the line between a scalper and just a guy like, oh, I bought one, I didn't like it, I prefer the Xbox One, it's got games I like, so I'm going to sell it on.
And
if you can get away with if someone's offering, I'll pay $1,000 for it, you're like, yeah, why the fuck not? Is that person a scalper with their one unit? They just don't like it, or like they bought themselves one and then they know their parents or whatever are getting them one for Christmas or something. They happen to have two. Are they just as bad as these people buying thousands?
Yeah, I don't hate scalpers is what I'm trying to say. I just think that I do hate. We all hate scalpers. I don't think that it's them we should be blaming. I think all they're doing is they're being.
There's a loophole in the system.
They're being industrious,
it's not
right?
Even really a loophole though.
All they're doing is finding opportunities to make money, which is what we would do given their situation for the most part.
I mean, how many kids? I think everyone either knew someone at school or was that person who, on their way to school in the morning, would buy up loads of sweets like Haribo's and chocolate bars and shit.
Buy the whole shop worth of sweets and then take them all in.
And take them all in, but like, all right, that's £1, that's 50p, whatever, and come home with a tiny bit of profit. Is that little,
in my school it was cigarettes, and it was 20p a cigarette in my school.
You went to school in Rill, so
no, I didn't. I went to school in St. Asaph. Come on, man. I wasn't a real high height. For God's sake, wow, that would have been even worse. Me selling drugs, never mind fags,
meth.
Okay, there was this one other thing right before we move on to the follow up. There was an image shared on Twitter of this guy called Mike_Fakesner, and he tweeted a picture of a wall of PS5s. There's at least 30 or 40 of them. Fuck your feelings, he tweeted. Digital, $900. Disc, $1,100. Tap in. So he's got a load of stock and he's selling them. And there was an image next to it. I think it was shared on Reddit or something. But apparently this guy was doxxed. It was found he lived 38 minutes from a man that claims he's about to rob him. Shown up on a GPS app. He is currently driving to his house, and then edit for he was robbed and deleted his Twitter account. So actual criminals are targeted this guy, and I say criminals, but vigilantes, right? You could say, because people, if people thinking that this shouldn't be legal, if this is wrong morally, if not legally, then someone's gone to his house. Apparently, this is all unsubstantiated. Gone to his house, robbed him, which is an actual crime. And people are going, yay, thank God, this guy's stuck up for, fuck the scalper. And I'm like, personally, no, let's draw a line here. Like, this doxing's bad. Go into his house, robbing him, that is a jailable offence. Scalping isn't. This is, how can people not see that?
And how you don't necessarily know this, the robber's motive, because they could be doing it like living out their Batman fantasy, being like, this guy, he's got all those PS5s, I'm gonna do it for justice, for Gotham, and go and like liberate them and throw them to the people like a Robin Hood, robbing from the rich. Or he's a scalper as well, and it's like, yo, that's a 30 odd systems that I can take and just flog myself. So I mean, you can't just back this guy because you don't necessarily know his motives. But I'm not sure. Like, I'm with you. Robin, and there's presumably a level of aggression involved. Probably like beat him up a little bit. Robbing this guy in his 30, however many was units. That's bad, not good. But if you're stupid enough to post your shit on social media, doing something that people don't like.
The attitude as well. Digital, fuck your feelings. $900 for digital, $110.
Fuck your feelings. You just got robbed.
I mean, it's funny. It's kind of funny if you don't think about the people who were involved, but it's totally legal, and I don't justify it at all. I think it's bad. But anyway,
the whole thing, scalping, I think, is morally wrong. But legally, I think I'm kind of with you. Like, should it really be illegal? Because where do you draw the line? And it is just another part of the system.
Yeah, there's a follow up anyway, because the company defended their operations. This is Crap Chief Notify. They defended their operations, and they said the following on social media: lots of our community have been furloughed, made redundant, or at some form of disadvantage due to the pandemic. But aren't we all? Anyway, these people have managed to cover their bills, put food on the table, and supply Christmas presents to their children. It may be unfortunate that a child won't wake up to a PS5 this Christmas, but another child may have woken up to nothing. We have no regrets. That's some justification, that, isn't it?
Wait, so is this from the Scalper?
The Scalping group.
Yeah, the sellers, right?
Yeah.
So lots of our community have been furloughed. So by their community, do they mean subscribers, right? The paid subscribers who pay to get the notification. They're paid for the bots and shit.
Yeah.
But you're still profiting from it. So, like, I don't like this holier than thou attitude. It's like, lots of our community have been furloughed. We're making it more financially easy, but you're still making money from it. I don't know. Am I being wrong in that?
I don't know. There's just a need. The way that I think it, there's a need in the market. There's a gap in the. There's a way to get these well sought after items. They sell a subscription in order to facilitate that for people, and then these people can say, "Oh well, I was out of a job, but now I found this opportunity where I can get 30 PS5s and sell them all at £500 profit." Yeah, that's a way to justify it, I guess. But there's a lot of people in the same boat, right?
Yeah, like everyone's having a hard time in some shape or another. Some people are having a really, really, really hard time. Some people less so. I mean, fucking the billionaires are still making more money somehow. But like this attitude of we're helping people. It's
not a watertight defense.
You're fucking not, are you? And think right. When it comes down to bots and stuff, Google kind of already is that, in the sense that it's got like autofill, it saves your card details, all of that kind of shit speeds up the process of checking out. You can do it in like a handful of clicks, or it used to be you have to manually type it all in and click a bunch of different things. So that's speeding it all up. So I guess if using bots like this maybe were more normalized, or there were even free versions that would do it for you, maybe it would take money out of these people's hands, because the people who are selling it. If they were generating these bots and then giving them away for free, to be like, oh, here's an actual bit of charity. We're going to help you be furloughed while you're having this hard time, and putting a PS5 under your kid's tree. I feel like I'd buy that argument a bit more.
Yeah, it's one of them, and there's a lot of different ways to approach it. It's not just as clean cut as let's get angry at these people who are doing it. There's a lot of factors involved. Anyway, Sony suggested this week that the PS5 was the biggest console launch ever. Just as a little bit of an update. I'm not sure whether you don't think you covered this on the Daily Show.
No.
And the quote was, "We want to thank gamers everywhere for making the PS5 launch our biggest console launch ever. Demand for PS5 is unprecedented, so we want to confirm that more PS5 eventually will be coming retailers before the end of the year. Please stay in touch with the local retailers." So,
yeah, because I think Jim Ryan came out and said,
there's no stock anywhere.
Literally every single one of them has been sold. Everything they've built has now been. It's now out of the warehouse, out of the factory. It's gone. They just need to build more.
Yeah, essentially. So the biggest launch of a console ever is a big claim. PS4 was the previous one. It sold 2.1 million units over the first 2 weeks, apparently. We don't know exactly how many have been sold, but they're all sold out according to Jim Ryan. But they are making more as quickly as possible. Hopefully they can get them in the stores quick enough to devalue all that scalping stock, so that scalpers will just have to resell them at price and probably take a little bit. If that happened, right? If 1 million PS5s became available now, or enough, let's say, then all those scalping hordes come down in value straight away, and they can only sell them for RRP, right? Which is at a loss to the scalpers because they got to pay shipping. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that happens sooner or later, and these scalpers can go and find something else to scalp, like. What were they doing? Bloody trainers or something, kicks. I think that's what they were scalping previously, because people go crazy for a brand new set of shoes, the latest Nikes or whatever. I mean,
yeah, and then they'll buy a fake one for like a quarter of the price.
Maybe I'm too old, but that to me is completely ridiculous. Like people paying like thousands of dollars for a pair of kicks, a pair of trainers, as I like to call them. Go down the park and have a kick around. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd go down the park, have a kick around in my new trainers. I don't give a scuff them up, whatever. You can't buy trainers with thousands of pounds and then do anything in them. You've got to just put them on a shelf or something and show them off. Yeah. You can't do that with that much money worth of trainers.
I'm with you. Like I if I bought not even just shoes, like a coat or a jacket or something, and it's like there's £500 coat. Like I'm never wearing that outside. What if it rains? What if it gets bird shit on it? It's like, well, there you go. That's a £500 gone. Yeah. But if you want to spend, your life saving on a pair of shoes, more power to you. But I think that's the dumbest shit.
Pair of shoes or a PS5 at scalper price. That's up to you. But you are, you're just making this problem worse. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah. And that's basically what we've got to say on scalping. Because the situation hopefully will get resolved sooner rather than later, and these scalpers can just jog on in their overpriced trainers. So let's move on to the next segment, which is the community segment. And every single week, I do like to thank everybody who signed up this week. We've got one sign up this week. Speedy Gonzalez signed up for YouTube membership for $5 a month. I really appreciate everyone who does sign up and support the channel. I must stress, it's really important that we have people supporting us, because without support, we cannot continue to produce content. We can't afford it. Like, we're not going to go out ripping people off, scalping, things like that to make money. So we do need your help. And if you are interested in helping us continue our productions and making daily content, news show, as well as this podcast every week, please consider going to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming or signing up for a YouTube membership subscription. Like I said, every single dollar helps. Every single $1 from every member does help us out. So thanks again to Speedy Gonzalez. And let's move on to the community questions quiz segment every week. So one of the perks of being a supporter is that you do get to ask us questions. So that's what we're going to do next. Metal Shark has another quiz, and it's for you to read, dude. I think I'm looking at the right one, but my computer's been really slow. Is this the correct one? Sorry, I'm scrolling. It's near very bottom.
It's a long quiz, this one.
Yeah, very bottom.
Wait, hold on. I think that's the wrong one. Oh, no, is it? Yeah, yes, it's the right one. Okay, so this is for me to read, yeah? Okay. Welcome one and all to this week's Who Wants to Be a Gaming Know-It-All, featuring your host Henry Cooper and this week's contender Gaz from Denbighshire. Woo! I kind of slipped into live TV presenter mode there, but I think I'm going to roll with it. High energy applause in brackets. So everyone watching, let's go.
Whoop
let's
in
get the crowd going,
please. Thank you.
In honor of the colossal failures in the industry right now, this will be a video game failure special. Okay. Question 1. E.T. reportedly coded in just 5 weeks did poorly. In which US state did Atari bury the returned and unsold copies? A. Montana, B. North Dakota, C. Oregon, or D. New Mexico?
Well, this is... They were reportedly buried in the desert, right? Montana, North Dakota, Oregon. I'm not sure how many deserts are around there, so I'm going to go with New Mexico, because it has to be New Mexico, because that's the most deserty type of... I'm not very good with geography, especially North American geography. I think it's New Mexico. I'm going to go with that, because there's something about that because I've read the story before. It has to be New Mexico, because the others don't have deserts in my mind. New Mexico.
New Mexico, is that your final answer? Lock it in. New Mexico is the correct answer. That gives you 1 out of 1. Gaz from Denbighshire.
Can we end it now and get 100%?
You know that's not how it works here at whatever this game is called. Who Wants to Be a Gaming Know-It-All? Know-It-All, 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 Know-It-All. Okay, question 2. Mad World, a mature... Mad World, a mature Sin City-looking beat-em-up released March 2009, only sold 123,000 copies in the US within the first 6 months. Which platform did it release on? Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, PlayStation 3, or PSP?
I don't know this, and I'm not sure what to...
Remember, you do have 3 lifelines, Gaz, from membership.
You're overselling it today, aren't you? I'm not sure how long that's going to...
No, I don't know how long
last before it gets on my nerves. Okay, I would say because it sold relatively few copies, 123,000, that it should be a console with not so many installed base. So 360 did pretty well. PlayStation 3 didn't do as well that generation. PSP is the one that I'm leaning to. It's one of that. I don't know. Am I going to guess with PSP? I'll take a 50-50.
A 50-50.
Take a 50-50.
Your 50-50 answer leaves you with the Wii or the PSP.
Oh, I should have been brave. I think PSP because I think less people would have the PSP. Therefore, the potential market is smaller. Therefore, that's why they sold so little. That's my answer. Final answer. Lock it in.
Let's lock it in. The answer is the Wii. And if you had asked your wonderful host, he would have been able to tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew it was on the Wii. I didn't have it, but my brother did. It's like black and white, cel-shaded, kind of cartoony, and hyper-violent.
Right. That doesn't help me.
Nope.
That doesn't make me feel any better either.
Well, it's because I think the Wii, you assume it's going to be like a success because the Wii was a huge success, or like a Nintendo fun family game, and that game just is not that at all. It's kind of weird that it did come out on the Wii. Okay. Question number 3. Duke Nukem Forever launched in 2011 and was heavily criticised as being disappointing. How long did it spend in development? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years?
It's definitely more than 5 years, that's for sure. It can't be 20 years because I don't think the games industry was around 20 years ago. Well, obviously that's not true. But it's either 10 or 15. So it's a close one for me. I'm going to opt for 15 because it's another guess, and I hope it's 15. Let's lock that in, please.
Answer C, 15 years is the correct answer. That's the one I would have gone for as well.
Yeah. I knew it was big. Right. I knew it was big.
Yeah. So that gives you 2 out of 3 answers, and now we go into question 4. What was the name of the game console designed by Apple and produced by Bandai in the mid-1990s based around Class Mac OS? I imagine that's meant to be classic Mac OS? Okay. Poppet, Pippin, Prudence, or Pepper?
P-Val double P is, there's 3 of the answers. So I was going to go with Prudence, but it's the only one that doesn't have P-Val double P. So
that's the classic quiz.
That theme would, that theme would imply that it is a P-Val double P answer. Poppet, Pippin, Pepper, Pippin, Poppet. Wouldn't be Poppet, Pippin. I would say Pippin or Prudence. I mean, I'd go with Prudence if it wasn't for the triple P thing. Pepper. Apple, Pepper, Pippin. Pippin. Let's do it.
Pippin.
My head says Pippin. My heart says Prudence. So I'm going with Pippin. Going with my head.
Shall we lock that in, yes?
Lock it in.
The answer is Pippin.
Oh, wow. I should go with my head more often. What a guess. Oh, I'm so elated.
I think I would have gone for that as well. Because I feel like Poppet is too close to Bop It, which is kind of the most 90s toy ever. Prudence, it doesn't follow the rule. And Pepper is black, and Apple is traditionally all white-based stuff, or silver or something. So I feel like they distance themselves from going for anything so dark. And Pippin, that's the remaining answer. So I would have gone for the same thing.
Well, there you go. The one time my rationale wins through.
Okay, so that is 3 out of 4. We're going into question 5. And now for a commercial break. We don't have any sponsors,
Really?
so we're just going to roll through. Brutal Legend includes a 100-song heavy metal music soundtrack and a celebrity voice cast including Jack Black, Lemmy Kilmister, Rob Halford, Ozzy Osbourne, Lita Ford, and Tim Curry. After Activision refused to publish the title, sued for breach of contract, which publisher picked it up and led to its commercial flop by avoiding stating the RTS elements and emphasizing other elements instead in an RTS game, rather.
Yeah.
So who was it published by? Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, Square Enix, or THQ?
Brutal Legend. Jack Black. I've watched him play this on his YouTube channel. Brutal Legend. But who was it? I've lost 50-50. I haven't got 50-50. So what's my option for... do I get to Google? Is that my...
Oh, yeah. Is it Google or Ask Alexa? 'Cause I think it's Ask Alexa this time.
I don't have Alexa.
It's not... Yeah, it doesn't say. We'll do Ask Alexa or ask any voice assistant you can get, because I think that was more fun last time. So
okay,
you get it's a three-word question.
Who published Brutal Legend?
Oh, that's 4 words, but yeah, I'll let it go.
And Electronic Arts.
I was going to say Electronic. That would be my guess, because if anyone's going to strip out the soul of a game and make it something else, then it's going to be EA. That was my hunch. I probably should have gone with my hunch, but EA.
EA is your final answer, and EA is the correct answer.
I should have gone.
So that's 4 out of 5. I would have gone for THQ instinctively, but yeah.
There you go.
Okay, moving on to question number 6. Earthbound's 1994 US release did unfavorably compared to its Japanese outing, with the marketing blamed as the reason. What was their campaign? Okay, so this is
Scratch.
A bunch of really weird marketing campaigns for Earthbound 1994 in the US.
Okay.
Scratch and sniff poster with "This game stinks" written on it. Mother Nature effigies portrayed in bondage. Wow, that's fucking weird for a fucking sort of kid game. Paper-based stickers that quickly rubbed off, leaving gluey messes. Or D, selling through the shopping channel as an exclusive.
Okay, it's not Scratch and Sniff, because that sounds too preposterous, and I think that the reason that it's the first response is because it's the most ridiculous. Just to set your expectations at the ridiculous. So it's not A. I don't think it's D, selling through shopping channel as an exclusive. I don't think it's that. Paper-based stickers that quickly rub off, leaving gluey mess. That sounds very plausible. Mother Nature effigies portrayed in bondage. Bit questionable, I would say, especially in the US, because they just wouldn't allow that in the US, because you can sell guns and violence, but you can't sell sex. Paper-based stickers that quickly rubbed off, leaving gluey messes. Blamed as the reason. Yeah, I'm going to go with paper-based stickers that quickly rubbed off, leaving gluey messes. That's my final answer. Lock it in.
It's locked in, and unfortunately the answer was Scratch and Sniff poster with "This game stinks" written on it. That's so...
Wow. That is the first one I just...
Who thought that was a good idea?
That is... Well, I guess they learnt the lesson there. This game stinks.
If it's a game about farts or poop or okay, maybe. But you're literally telling people your game isn't good.
Yeah, that's it's obvious to me why it failed then.
Yeah, come on now. Okay, so that leaves you at 4 out of 6. How are you feeling?
One lifeline left. Well, I've only got to ask you left. That's the only one I've got. So I don't know. I'm feeling all right. I've got 4 questions left. We'll see what we can do.
Oh, we need more confidence from Daz for Gaz from Denbighshire for Daz. Well, where's Daz? He'll fucking do a better quiz.
Yeah, he probably would.
Question 7. What caused Shenmue 1 and 2 to become commercial failures? Marketing budget, production costs, poor sales, or platform choice?
How can you boil down... This is a very difficult question, because you could... How can you blame platform choice? It has to be poor sales. Like, if they didn't... But if they sell 10 million... then everything else is negated. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can have the biggest marketing, biggest production, biggest, or whatever platform you want. But if you sell 10 million, as in the sales are huge, then that negates everything. So it's a kind of a, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a bad question, but it's a tricky question, this, because you could blame it on platform choice, but you could also blame it on poor sales then as well. I'm going to have to say poor sales, because you can't blame it on platform choice. You can't blame it on anything else. It has to be sales. But production costs can be what they want, but if you sell enough, that's fine. Sales.
I see what you're saying. All of the problems ultimately come back to poor sales.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
relatively,
to say. Yeah. It has to be poor sales, and if it's not poor sales, then I'm going to ask for an independent auditor to check this answer.
Okay, let's have a look. The answer is production costs. There's some controversy in Who Wants to Be a Gaming Know-It-All.
I would argue that if they sold 10 million, production costs wouldn't be a problem.
Right, let's have a look. See how much Shenmue 1 and 2 sold. I don't know if I'm going to get a flat fucking figure for this. Alright, let's just go in Shenmue on Wikipedia. Sales. Despite sales of 1.2 million, Shenmue did not recoup its development cost and was a commercial failure. And even on fucking Wikipedia, commercial failure is links to something else. So I guess it sold to 1.2 million is good. That's great sales, especially for the time. When did this come out? It's 1999.
Okay, I'll let this slide, right? If you rephrase the question to what was blamed for the commercial failure, then
yes,
people blame production costs. That's fine. But what actually caused it, I would always argue production.
If it had sold enough, it would have recouped its development costs and production costs.
I mean, if I was, I'm not telling you how to do your job, Mr. Quizmaster, but if I was the Quizmaster here, I might make a decision.
Might get half a point, but you might not.
It's up to you, man. I mean,
no, you're not fucking getting half.
I give you a double point the other week, and you got 10 out of 10 for it. But whatever.
We might cut this one out of the overall ranks. You can get X out of 9 because this question is too much.
It's tricky. It's a tricky question.
We'll get complaints into ITV where we're running Who Wants to Be a Gaming Know-It-All. People will get upset.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to move on to question 8 brackets maybe question 7. Psychonauts, a favourite of former PGG intern Lucy Ann Jones, won GameSpot's 2005 Best Game No One Played Ever award, selling fewer than 100,000 copies during its initial release. How many copies did it sell when it re-released as part of Humble Bundle? So 10,000, 100,000, 600,000, or 6 million?
I'm going to go with a reasonably moderate answer, 600,000. Yeah. I don't think it would have sold. I mean, I've heard of it. I mean, it's relatively... 600,000 is a reasonable amount. 600,000. It's probably going to be 600,000. It's going to be 6 million. I know it is.
6 million. No, the answer is 600,000.
Boom.
So that's what 6 out of 8, or 5 out of 7.
Yeah,
because you've got 2 wrong.
Yeah.
So.
If we discount number 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 9. Beyond Good and Evil flopped commercially when launched in 2003. Former employee Owen Hughes stated it failed because it was an unknown IP that failed to garner interest. The graphics were not appealing enough to entice gamers. Splinter Cell and Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time launched simultaneously, or the marketing was misleading, resulting in poor reviews and high levels of returns.
I'm not sure you're going to know this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you know?
No.
You don't know.
I don't know. I haven't played
Brilliant.
I really like the look of Beyond Good and Evil too, but I know nothing about the game. I mean, if I could give you my input, I think it didn't look particularly nice at the time.
2003? I mean, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
You're talking 17 years ago, man. I mean, it doesn't have to look that nice.
But I think in comparison to some of its contemporaries, maybe not.
But it's what this guy is what the employee said. That's what the answer is, right? No,
I think graphics is the kind of thing an employee would say. So it's like, gamers just didn't like our deep, meaningful gameplay and story. They just like pretty shit. I feel like that's something they could say. Mm-hmm. I don't reckon it's the Splinter Cell Prince of Persia thing. Cause I don't know. I just don't believe it's that. But I mean, those two are both recognizable IPs. They're owned by Ubisoft, which is why it's relevant, because Beyond Good and Evil is a Ubisoft thing.
Yeah.
Marketing was misleading and poor reviews. I'm pretty sure it reviewed quite poorly, but it's got like a cult following. So that's probably what I would go for. It was an unknown IP that failed to garner interest. I don't think that's a particular reason for it to fail over anything else. So,
yeah.
So
my inkling is Splinter Cell and Prince of Persia Sands of Time launched simultaneously, only because if they didn't launch simultaneously, would this be a potential answer? One of the answers. I think
in terms of quizzing like structure, launching simultaneously with one game, I feel like that's a bit more plausible. But launching simultaneously with two games, that means 3 games are launching all at once from the same company, which seems unlikely to ever actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2003. Maybe they hadn't learned. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this was one of their learning points. It was a long time ago. I would say that the former employee wouldn't say that the graphics in my game was shit. I guess the marketing was misleading, resulting in poor reviews. That's very plausible. You're saying,
I think, isn't it a lot of the game you're meant to take photos of stuff? Or am I making that up? I think that's something.
So you're saying D, marketing, and I'm leaning towards the simultaneous releases. I don't know. You don't know either, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just ignore you and go with C, Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia.
Good, I would have ignored me too. The answer is C, Splinter Cell and the Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time launched simultaneously. Very well done. Why would Ubisoft do that? That's really stupid.
I mean, that's it. It's stupid now because we're looking. We know, but maybe they didn't know back then that launching 3 games at the same time.
Maybe it's because they didn't have faith in it. Maybe Ubisoft, like the developers, I'm sure liked it quite a lot. Yeah. But Ubisoft, as the publisher, probably were like, "Nope, let's just stick this here. Maybe people will buy it, but these 2 big games will, cover for the lack of sales." Yeah. Okay. Okay. The final question, number 10.
So I've got 6 correct, 1 questionable out of 9, right?
Yes. I think.
Yeah, so it's correct. One which we're not sure about whether you're giving me the point or not.
Well, it's potentially 2 wrong. So it's either you're currently at 6 out of 8, or 7 out of 9. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question. Grim Fandango released in 1998 with positive reviews. How many copies had the game sold in North America by 2003? 950. 9,500, 95,000, or 950,000.
I feel like 5 years worth of sales should be. A game I've heard of on. It's remembered pretty well. It should be closer to 1 million than anything else. But what's put me off here is we're talking about colossal failures in the industry right now. Is Metal Shark's like setup for this quiz? Yeah. So colossal failure. Would 1 million sales be a colossal failure? I would think not. They must have sold more than 100,000. They must have sold more than 100,000. I mean, it's so off-putting. This a colossal failure would be 95,000 sales. Would 1 million sales be a colossal failure? Nah, it wouldn't. I'm going to have to go with 95,000. I'm overthinking it, aren't I? I'm overthinking it. 95,000. If it's a colossal failure, it has to be less than 1 million. It has to be less than 950,000. It has to be 95,000.
This is all based on your assumption.
It has to be
that Metal Shark.
He called it a colossal failure. 1 million sales in 5 years is not a colossal failure back in 1998. So it has to be C 95,000. My head is saying. I said I'm going to go with my head.
But are you sure? Because the question, I haven't looked at the answer. I have no idea what it is. But the question itself, specifically question 10, is nothing to do with failure. Just the other ones are. So I know. Putting it in
this
context.
Is a failure quiz, though. Failure quiz.
Okay.
I'm using my head here. I'm going
95,000.
95,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, the number has a 9 in it, and a 5 in it.
Obviously.
I told you 3 zeros, meaning it is 95,000.
Awesome. I told you that voice was going to wear thin.
Yeah, I couldn't be asked anymore. It's that level of enthusiasm. I can't do it. It might come back out for a comment or something. Yeah, so that's what? 8 out of 10.
7 correct. 7 correct
7 out of 9.
And 1 that I'm questioning. Because I would say that that question was correct too. That you don't sell enough games, that's why it's a failure. Right?
It's yeah, I mean it's open to interpretation, isn't it? So
I say I should get 8. I should get 8.
I don't care. You know what? If I give you the point now, you'll be more generous to me on the next one.
I've been generous to you in the past, God
exactly.
Damn it. I want to
keep the generosity.
A double point 2 weeks ago and give you 10 out of 10.
Well, all right, fine. You can have a point if you're going to scream and shout.
Thank you. I deserve it.
I'll give in to the bully.
I'm just saying, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's how it works, right? So yeah, thank you. I'll take the out of 10 because that's my best score in ages, and I did well.
That is true. You've had a lot of fucking dud rounds.
I need this win, man. Give it to me. And thanks, Metal Shark, for the quiz. I have so much fun with these quizzes, man. I really appreciate it, dude. You're the best. So let's move on to the other questions this week. We've got a few to get through. I'm not sure if we've got enough time. But we're going to give them their due attention. First up, Rage and Andy Kidd asks, what do you think of IO Interactive doing a 007 game? Personally, I think it's a perfect fit and it's in the realm of game design, and I can't wait to see their portrait with their well put together stealth mechanics. Also, what are you hoping to see from this if you have any expectations? IO Interactive, so that's the Hitman developer making a James Bond game. What do you think, Henry?
I mean, that sounds like awesome news to me. I mean, there's been a handful of Bond games over the past few well, basically over Bond's kind of lifetime, really, his cinematic lifetime. Some of them are good. I mean, the classics everyone brings up are like GoldenEye. But a lot of them have been sort of half-arsed semi-movie tie-ins or whatever. And it's kind of a waste of a potentially brilliant IP. So having IO do it in kind of the Hitman style, great stealth stuff, I think sounds awesome. Especially because IO are good at what Ubisoft used to do with Assassin's Creed, and IO have always done it with Hitman, is like blending in. It's hiding in plain sight kind of stealth, which I think is often some of the most interesting ways to do it, because you can just stand and wait for the right moment and then kill a target. Or, well, because he's Bond, he's not an assassin, he's a spy. So I think that could open up more interesting gameplay opportunities as well, because you've got different objectives rather than just kill the guy by, I don't know, dropping a chandelier on his head. Yeah,
Hitman is such a well reviewed and well thought of game series. IO Interactive do a great job of realizing environments and just making it interesting, just making set pieces for you to go in and explore and just replay, and there's loads of things going on in every single level of that. 007 is a perfect fit with IO, I would say, and I think I would what would you hope to see if you have an expectations? I would hope to see I guess, I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of 007 games. Haven't played GoldenEye back on the N64. Huge fan of that. First shooter, if anything. So, yeah, I'm down for whatever. Let's just bring it on. Let's see what they do.
So long as it, I mean, you just want to be, if I'm playing a Bond game, I want to feel like Bond. I want to look sharp. I want some cool gadgets and cars that can turn invisible and shoot rockets and shit. Yeah, hot babes, although, you know, that's the perfect opportunity for people to get upset about, which is great. That'll only be good press.
Who cares? So, who cares, man?
I'd be interested to see which Bond they do, because Daniel Craig's meant to be done, isn't he? Like, what's the new one? No Time to Die.
So
he's meant to be finished.
I'm reading. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm reading here that it's the James Bond origin story. So
not another origin story. That's a bit more depressing. But I mean, that's very presumptuous. It could be really cool.
Timothy Walton, is he in the first ones? Who was the first one?
The very first was Sean Connery, wasn't it?
No,
but he's not chronologically the first. Wasn't he the first?
Was he the first actor to ever James Bond? Sean Connery? No, he can't be.
He's ancient.
George Lazenby, right?
George Lazenby wasn't the first one. It's either Shawnee or Roger.
So the first one was Dr. No, right?
First Bond film. Let's have a look.
Okay, Sean Connery. Oh my God.
Yeah, there we go. He's ancient. Well,
shows what I bloody know.
Rip.
Rip. Shows what I know, man. Shows what I know.
I was quite bummed when Sean Connery died. It was quite a shame.
Yeah, he was
I'm not even a big Bond fan, but I just like him. Yeah, so which Bond would they go for? Because if they tried to do Sean Connery and he's dead, or like, I think that would be weird. I don't think I would like that very much. But if they do Daniel Craig or whoever's next, maybe they're building all of the other assets and their main character they're just leaving. They're like, no, we're going to fucking cross that once we get an actor in for the new ones. But yeah, either way, a Bond game should be pretty cool. Lots of potential.
Cool. So let's move on to next question. Thanks for the question there, Mr. Rage Andy Kid.
Okay, Angry Hobbit. We all know Disney are fierce with protecting their IPs. Now, this was a bit of a while ago, but what are your feelings on Disney shutting down a little indie project to remaster Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? From what I remember... Oh, wait, hold on. My camera's being a little bit... Oh, wait, no, that's just because of the massive fucking delay that this game seems to have. It goes up and down. Sometimes it's got like a 2-second delay. Sometimes it's really long.
Don't worry about it. It's good. We're all good.
All right, well, I'll just read the question again. So this is from Angry Hobbit. We all know Disney are fierce with protecting their IPs. Now, this was a bit of a while ago, but what are your feelings on Disney shutting down a little indie project to remaster Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? From what I remember, they was going to offer the complete remaster for free. Personally, I feel the game was never anything to do with Disney other than them buying the IP. The game came out 15 to 20 years ago. It's not like they're going to damage sales of the game. Quite frankly, Mickey Mouse needs to wind his fucking neck in and keep his oversized snout out of it. Star Wars KOTOR was and still is my favourite game of all time. Wow, that is a mighty achievement to be someone's favourite game of all time. But yeah, I mean, like I think we've sort of covered this before. But yeah, leave them the fuck alone. If they're not doing anything, if they're not going to harm your bottom line, why come down on it? Disney always do it. They're almost as bad, well, probably as bad as Nintendo for that sort of shit. If it's a potential area where they could potentially maybe make money if they ever decided to fucking do something with it, then they'll come down on it. But if they're not doing their own version, which will probably be worse, of a remake, their own KOTOR remake, then who the fuck does it hurt?
Who does it harm? Yeah, nobody.
So, like, I mean, if they are doing one, okay, fine, because it's yours. But you're right in the sense, well, they do own it now, and so they can do whatever they want with it. But it's like, well, it wasn't yours back in the day. I don't know, just leave them be.
It's these big corporations protecting all their assets, essentially. They've got a team of lawyers, and they're going to put them to use, because otherwise they're sitting on their hands. And I don't know what they're going to gain out of this, because, like I said, the game is... I mean, maybe they do still sell Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know, but it's their prerogative, I guess, and that's the way of the world. It's the way that these things, copyright laws work. But you don't have to agree with it, but that's the way it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is just the way it is.
So let's move on. Thanks for the question, Mr. Angry Hobbit. Suminda asks, Lucas Babel, QA lead at CD Projekt Red, has shared a screenshot with 175 hours as a Nomad and still hasn't even finished the game. With Nomad being only...
I covered this week already.
Did, yeah. With Nomad being only 1/5 path out of 3, it seems to have unbelievably long playtime, and especially since Henry said The Witcher 3 was too long, my questions for you guys are, number one, as games reviewers, would you play through all 3 life paths and spend God knows how much time to finish all of them and review it? Question number 2, as a gamer, would you play through the whole game with all 3 life paths? And he says, for me, I might actually play through the whole game with all 3 life paths simply because CD Projekt knows how to tell great stories and the game seems to have deep gameplay and RPG mechanics. Cheers. Huge shitstorm over talking about length of games this week, Henry. A lot of comments.
And I knew it would happen.
Tread carefully, dude.
I don't care. A lot of people misconstrue my opinion on game length with my opinion on games as a whole. Yeah, there's a load of comments.
We've got comments about that. So
I may end up touching on some of those talking points anyway. As game reviewers, would you play through all 3 life paths and spend God knows how much time to finish all of them and review it? No, I don't think that's necessary. I think as a reviewer, I mean, you can absolutely do that if you want to, but as a reviewer, I mean, we may get a review copy, but I think it's unlikely because it's a bit late in the day now, for considering how big the game is. I think you should inform people what your life path was, like with some of the key choices. Obviously, without spoiling anything, you just say, I played on this platform, it took me this long, and I played as this, because there was Nomad, Corpo, and Street Kid, so they're all 3 different starting points and 3 different styles. And I think you have to finish the critical path, however long it takes. I think you should finish it unless you explicitly say so in your review, like reviews in progress, which I think is going to be quite common for this one. There's going to be a lot of people saying, I really, really like it, but I'm not finished yet. So that's a huge caveat on everything. So Metacritic scores, for example, they're going to take a long time for the score itself to actually stabilize, because a lot of them will be review in progress. They won't put a number on it. As a gamer, would you play through the whole game with all 3 life paths? Every time that's a thing, I have every intention to, but a lot of times I end up moving on to playing something else because something else is new out or whatever. And again, I have every intention to this time. I think it's very, very unlikely that I would do it back to back. Like, I had plans to do a Nomad one. That's my first one. And then I would probably do Street Kid and then Corpo. But I would, separate them. Yeah. Maybe even by years.
I think it's one of those games that, I mean, it's just so appealing to me. The whole setup, the sci-fi, futuristic kind of setup, it's right in my wheelhouse. It's a first-person RPG with shooter mechanics. It's perfect for me. It's teed up perfectly to be great. And I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know whether I'll play through the whole game with 3 life paths. I'd like to. I've replayed many games through. It all depends on how much variety. If it's the same people, the same interactions, the same storyline through the whole 3 times, I'm probably less likely to stick with it. But that's just me. As a game reviewer, I hate reviewing games. I just don't. There's always a balance between having to finish the game and getting the review out in a reasonable amount of time, because you could play the whole game in its entirety, and this one, right, specifically, and it might take you 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And who cares about the review then? And nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to care about it. It's not going to make financial because you're dedicating so much of your time to making this one review, but you've got to move on because you've got to work for a living, right? So it doesn't quite make sense, which is why making reviews in the first place is a bit precarious for me. But yeah, I wouldn't say that someone has to play through all the content in the game before reviewing it, but they do have to play like the majority, that's for sure, and at least tell people this is how much of the game I've played.
Yeah, it's just realistically, it's unreasonable to ask someone to do every single life path and every single side quest and collect every single collectible and every single skill. It's just not practical. If someone wants to do that, by all means, go to them, and their review will inevitably be the most thorough, but I don't think it's fair to expect everyone to do it. I think you should complete the game story-wise. I think you have an obligation to. But side stuff, you should dabble with it to get a feel for some of them, but I don't think you have to do all of it.
All right, next question. Thanks for the questions there, Mr. Suminder. Next question from Earthworm.
Fortunately, I already know the answer to this one from Earthworm Ben, and it's an answer I don't like. Earthworm Ben, settle an argument with my peers.
Oh, sorry, it was you to read.
Yeah, it's my thing.
About to fire it off there.
Settle an argument with my peers. Are Monster Munch shaped like monsters or claws?
Right, don't answer. What we're going to do, count to 3, and we'll both answer simultaneously.
Right, is this what I know the answer is, or what I think the answer is, or like what I believe? Because I believe it's what you believe. To the actual answer. Okay,
we both answer what we believe after 3, right?
You count down.
3, 2, 1. Claws. Absolutely.
They're claws.
They're claws. They're obviously claws.
Who owns Monster Mush? Is it Walkers? Someone. Well,
Don't care.
They claim they're
Don't
monsters.
care what they think.
Like they're 2 feet with little arms and then like an eye or something. Fuck off. They're a claw.
We've settled the argument, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
It's settled. I don't care what anyone else says.
Monster Munch may claim they're monsters, but you ain't. You're a claw.
I don't care what the person who made it or make them.
You're
say.
wrong.
They're wrong. But thanks for the question. Let's move on. Durlock or Sergio asks, what announced game could make you put aside Cyberpunk 2077 at launch date? And then the other question is, would you believe in the possibility of... we'll answer this one first. I don't think any other game that's been announced could make me put Cyberpunk 2077 aside. It is my most anticipated game right now, and it's within tasting distance.
Yeah, I think like the amount of time I've spent talking about Cyberpunk and watching Cyberpunk stuff, we don't have the amount of time left until that game comes out for another game to give me that much hype. You know, the amount of time I spent hyping this one, I can't physically do for the next one. Even if it was like my dream fucking Star Wars open world space RPG thing that I talk about all the time. No, because Cyberpunk's at the front of the queue.
Maybe if Obsidian shock surprise release Fallout New Vegas 2 on the same day, there would be a decision to be made. But of the announced games, it has to be Cyberpunk. The other part of the question: would you believe in the possibility of Steam making their own Game Pass subscription model, maybe join the Microsoft Game Pass? Absolutely. I think it's the way of the future. Recurring payments, having player engagement. I definitely think that Steam should be looking at this already, and they definitely should.
I doubt they'd join Microsoft Game Pass. They'd probably do their own version, because that's a way they can make their own money and take all of it. But yeah, it's the way of the future. And the thing is, a lot of people don't like it. I say a lot. I think a few people don't like Game Pass because they don't like the idea of having to subscribe. They don't like not technically owning games. But that's all totally fine.
So good. Game
because
Pass
you can still buy them.
Yeah, that's true.
You can still buy them outright, and you don't own any of your digital games anyway. So everything on Steam you don't technically own. You own a license for. But anyway, that's by the by. Yeah. Game Pass is a brilliant service.
It's great.
Everyone should get it if you can.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from Marcus Hicks. Okay, I have a question. If there was one long-dead franchise /IP that you'd like to see get a reboot/remaster in 2021, what would it be? And then there's a follow-up after that as well. Okay, a long-dead franchise that gets a comeback in 2021. I mean, often if there's a chance for a reboot or remaster, I'd rather a remake of the original Metal Gear Solid on PS1, but Kojima has to be involved.
It's not a long dead franchise, though, Henry.
That's the problem, because when did Phantom Pain come out? Like 2015, I think, something like that. So that's my only kind of.
Well, there's been a more recent one since then, hasn't it? It wasn't.
Survive, which was like a year after, which is dog.
Yeah, that was dog shit.
What's another one? What's a good dead franchise?
Long dead.
Well, there are very few dead franchises now. They all get dragged up.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if it didn't have to be a movie, it didn't have to be a game. I could do a movie. I'd love to see like a RoboCop game or something like that. Well, RoboCop's kind of not dead anymore because they brought him back again recently, which was awful. That movie sucked.
Yeah.
I would say Terminator, but that got Terminator Resistance kind of recently, which got mixed reviews. I think on a technical level, it's not great, but as Terminator fan service, is meant to be quite good.
Yeah, I've got an actual answer here, which is the Long Dead game, and my answer is Earth and Beyond. I'm sure I've mentioned this in the past on the podcast, but Earth and Beyond was a game developed by Westwood Studios, published by EA. It was a kind of an MMO online space game. It's my first space online game, and you could play it as a solo trader. It was just so simple, and it wasn't like an expansive, huge. You couldn't fly upwards and down. There was like a plane, a certain plane that you could go up and down within a plate. Like space was like a plate, like it was shallow, and you couldn't go straight up or straight down, but you go like, you know what I mean. It was great. I loved that game. I really loved that game for what it was. For its time, you could get out of your ship. Like EVE Online, you can't even do this yet. You can get out of your ship. You can walk around space stations, get back in your ship, fly down to a planet, and get out of your ship in the planet and go and do missions on the planet. Like, it wasn't seamless. There was loading screens and that. But this was back in 2004, 2002. Sorry, it was early 2003. It was, this game was way before its time, and it was cancelled in 2004. And I loved it, and I think they should bring it back. They should just scale down EVE. EVE is too heavily reliant on knowing far too much. So just make a consumer-friendly, like a noob-friendly space sci-fi game, and I will be into it. Even if it is an MMO, you could play that game on your own, and I did for a lot of time. I loved it. I loved setting my sights on getting the cloaking device. I can't remember the name of the class that I was, but there were scientific explorers, right? Javi, G, it was a J or something. And I remember setting my sights on getting the cloaking device. So when I cloaked, I could, and it was like getting that achievement of getting this new technology and being able to explore the further depths of the galaxy. I really had a great time with that game. Earth and Beyond, bring it back.
I just thought of a better answer that I've actually spoken about kind of recently in a couple of videos, and I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't immediately think of it. But Power Stone. I mean, I want Capcom to bring back Power Stone. It was fucking awesome. Yeah. And based on the newest hack thing, mild spoiler alert if you don't want to know, but I've kind of already given the game away. It looks like they might be doing a Power Stone remake or potentially Power Stone 3. But Power Stone was awesome. If you didn't know, it's a fighter, but it's a 3D arena brawler multiplayer thing with all these, colourful characters and shit. But it's just been left out. It's kind of Smash Bros, but with original characters and in 3D, because you can get items and everyone's got like special moves that you can you power up when you collect power stones and you get this ultimate move. It's just awesome. I don't know how well it would do now. I don't know if anyone actually gives a shit about it, but I'm totally up for it. I thought Power Stone was great. Played it with my stepbrother over and over and over again on the Dreamcast. So that's the one. And the follow-up question: what kind of improvements / changes from the original would you like to see in this reboot or remaster? I don't even really want anything significant. Maybe multiplayer, something that could be pretty cool for Power Stone. Just a couple new original characters, but mainly I just want everyone else back and better than ever. Just more of everything, more stages, more items.
I mean, let's just say, I mean, the reason we loved them, we want them remade is because we don't really want much of it changed. I mean, Star Wars Galaxies was another good game. That was my next MMO after Earth and Beyond. But anyway, we'll keep them as they are. Just upgrade the graphics and everything so that it runs smoothly and looks pretty. We'll do that. Excellent. So, next question. Did you read the last one?
Yes.
Thanks, Marcus Hicks, for the question. Next question is from Robbo. Hi, guys. Following on from your discussion on game length, as an older player, value for time is the best thing. I mainly play for story over mechanics, so something that takes me 10 to 20 hours to finish the story is great. Sure, have side content that takes that up to 30 to 40, which I may dip my toe in if I'm captivated to do so. But story-wise, keep it short and sweet and build around it. I played and finished Persona 5 last year, and honestly, after finishing it, I didn't play anything at all for about 2 months as I was burnt out by it. I was burnt out by within 10 hours of that game, and then it got to the dialogue, and after 10 hours I was like just skipping through it because I just didn't care. I was like, just get on with it. Oh man, I don't know how you've finished it.
Everyone says Persona's great, especially what's the new,
it is a good game,
all singing, all dancing version. Royale, Persona 5 Royale, I'm like, yeah, cool, sure, but I just don't I'm not willing to commit the time necessary to give it a fair shake.
Yeah, I got other things to do in my life, let's say.
Better things.
Yeah, don't say that word. Don't piss people off. Anyway, he carries on. But hey, I'm old and we'll get pelters off younger folks for this. We don't care what younger folks think. We've got our opinions. If they don't like them, bloody deal with it.
Out about game length for all week.
We get shouted out by everything these days. We're on the internet. Fucking get used to it. young whippersnappers with their bloody stupid ideas, trying to shut people down, trying to stop us from having opinions. Fuck them. Anyway, keep up the great work, lads. As always, lads. True, honest, and varied opinions are becoming rare on YouTube. So to have you guys to put up with all the bullshit that goes on around putting this content on YouTube deserves my time and money, even if it's only £1. Well, we salute. There's no question in there, but we salute you anyway, Mr. Robbo. We appreciate the sentiments, sir.
Because you know what you like about game length, and you stick with it. People like long games, cool. People like short games, cool.
Yeah,
it's all down to you, baby.
That is.
Okay, but we've got one final question from Tons. I was having a conversation with a couple of mates about accessibility, and we came across a little fun conundrum. With the accessibility hardware, Microsoft Adaptive Controller, Borrow Controller, etc., being way more expensive than normal hardware, would you be willing to pay extra on your controllers so they could lower the cost of admission for people who need special hardware like said adaptive controllers? So would you pay more for a controller or any input device, I guess, if we extend this to mouse and keyboard type stuff? Would you be willing to pay more for that to mean that they can charge less for the specialist and accessibility friendly controllers?
This is a tricky one for me because I'm in two minds. One, no, definitely not, because this is how the world works, right? You pay for something what it's worth, right? And if they can manufacture a regular controller at a price of £20 and they sell it to you for 25 at a reasonable markup, that's the price of it, right? Why artificially inflate that just because somebody else wants a cheaper version? But when you put it in terms of, and also the question of, do you really trust a big company to take that extra bit of money that you're spending on this controller and discount the adaptive controllers? Do you really trust them to put that money where it's supposed to go? I don't, personally. But the other side of the question is, if you know that all that's true, there has to be a better way to help somebody get an adaptive controller who can't afford one, other than paying through the nose for a regular controller yourself. I think the way that the economy works in terms of you pay for something what it's worth, you can't artificially increase the price of a unit of whatever you're buying just because they want to discount something else. I think that's just counterintuitive in the current market. It's not how this market works. So I don't know. I probably gut feeling I wouldn't be happy with that. But if it's an extra 50p, extra £1, yeah, do it. Yeah. As long as you can trust them that the money's going to go somewhere. Add an extra 20% on top of a controller. They're already expensive. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
I think I'm with you, like a little bit, like a 50p or £1, or a £5 maybe, and you know where it's going and you can trust them. Yeah, cool, totally. But yeah, as you're saying with the Microsoft Adaptive Controller, part of the reason they're so expensive is because they're tough to make, because they require a load of more complicated and more expensive to produce technology in them than a traditional controller. And part of it, I think the Microsoft have even said that they kind of sell them at a loss.
Yeah.
Because they know they're such a small percentage of the total gamer base. So I don't know if they can reasonably make it any cheaper, although the adaptive controller is amazing for what it can do for people. That's incredible. But this is just it's just the first one, really. So I think as time goes on, they'll figure out cheaper ways to do it. And I think this is a great step now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's not all the way there. I think we've got to remember that it's still an evolving kind of process.
In terms of discounting something and selling it under market value, that's always very dubious, especially it's very difficult to produce, because you open the door for scalpers, right? They literally buy something cheaper than what it's worth. They buy them all up, and then they can sell them for exactly what it's worth, not even selling them over inflated prices, and still make money. Again, it's just how this market works, right? It's you've got to sell it for what it costs to produce, plus your cut for selling or whatever you need to do. It's a bad solution to a very good, not a very good problem. It's the wrong way to put it, but a very poignant problem. There you go. And with that, thanks for the questions, everybody, this week. Let us move on to the very next section, which everybody's been waiting for. This is the Triggered Fanboy Comments of the Week. All right, Henry, brace yourself. This is from Daniel Dexil from last week's podcast. We were talking about the Game Award nominations 2020. And he says, "It is the first time I disliked a video from you guys, but the whole episode felt like, quotes, let's not vote for The Last of Us, end quote. That game is great. I understand it's not everybody's cup of tea, but compare it to stupid Doom? Jesus! You guys sound dumber than usual this time. Go back to being funny, boys. Smiley face. Don't try the whole deep thinking stuff." Oh, well, I love this comment. This comment is one of the best ones we've had in ages. I love it.
I think what's interesting about this guy is he's certainly a little bit triggered, and I think he's passive aggressive. That's it. But I think he's a fanboy of us and The Last of Us, because he's saying kind of like, this first video I've disliked from you in a while, so he's obviously a fan. Sound dumber than usual. Okay, yeah, we even bring that on ourselves. We're a couple of dumb fucks, so that's not offensive at all. Go back to being funny. There's a bit of a compliment. He thinks we're quite funny.
Puts a little smiley face in there, not to hurt our feelings, right? He doesn't want to hurt our feelings. He just wants to tell us that we're stupid and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't have an opinion.
Don't try the deep thinking stuff.
We shouldn't have an opinion on the game of the year.
We're dumb and funny. All right, yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think this is kind of emblematic of a lot of the ultra defenders of The Last of Us 2, and like, if you didn't like it, you didn't get it, it's too deep for you. All right, but I think comparing it to Doom in terms of like depth or whatever, Doom is a game. It's so unashamedly a game. Mechanic turns everything into a mechanic. Like, getting ammo is a mechanic. You need to chainsaw people. Getting health is a mechanic. You need to glory kill people. It's not just flick a button and heal or whatever like that. They make it interesting. So I think for that reason, that's one of many reasons, I think it's a game of the year for being a game. It's a game. Narrative, Last of Us is significantly better in terms of actually having a story that's kind of, in the traditional beats, like it's got a beginning, middle, and end, and it goes, and there's characters and stuff. And it's very, very ambitious in trying to tell stories from different people's perspectives, and especially some of those perspectives not necessarily being the ones you would want to pick. But trying to say stupid Doom,
undervalue something else.
It's so elitist. It's so elitist. I'm sure, because this chap's a fan, I'm sure he's a lovely guy. You may even be watching now, and considering you watched that podcast, you're probably watching this one. So congrats, you are the triggered fanboy, but it's not necessarily like, we don't hate you or nothing, but I don't think this...
it's just a bad comment. It's just a bad take. It's a really bad take. We're not allowed an opinion just because... I mean, it doesn't matter it doesn't even matter what our intelligence levels are. We're allowed to have an opinion on a game. Yeah. Like, even if we are stupid, we're allowed to think that Doom is a better game than The Last of Us Part 2. That is just that's just how the world works. We're all allowed an opinion.
What was it nominated? Well, I was about to say what was it nominated for, but realistically, it was nominated for everything. Game of the year, I don't think so, because I think Doom is a better game as a game. I had more fun playing it as a game. Narrative, I don't think it's the best narrative, because I think it's massively disjointed, and yes, that may be deliberate and the point, but I don't think it's cohesive in the way it should be, and I think there's a way you can tell that story that is better, in my opinion. What else? Accessibility, absolutely deserves that. I think we gave it that. Action adventure, I think I gave it to Ghosts, because I think Ghosts is a better action adventure game. For starters, there's more of a sense of adventure because it's an open world, and that often leans itself into that. And action, Last of Us 2's gameplay is virtually identical to that of Last of Us 1. It's just like prettier and sharper and technically better. Like, you're doing the same things, and for that reason, I don't think it should win it. And Ghost of Tsushima should, because nothing plays quite like Ghost of Tsushima.
I actually said that Last of Us Part 2 should win 2 awards, right?
I think you said one that I did.
The music and the
music's a good one.
And the
I think it's a solid shout.
What's the all the accessibility options, right?
Yeah, accessibility.
I mean, how can you say that I said that let's not vote for The Last of Us Part 2 when I literally said they should win 2 awards? Never mind. Let's move on. Thanks, Daniel. Anyway, I hope you don't take that personally, but you are our triggered fanboy combo. We did have a runner-up, right? And this is on your video.
I think this one's kind of better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll read it again. This is on the Cyberpunk could take over his 175 hours to play video that he did this week. Scathe says, disliked. Please stop saying games are too long. Devs might actually end up charging us $80 for a 2-hour game. Your attitude is cancer, you EA/2K pig.
Have you watched any of our content ever before? EA/2K pig.
Man.
I quite like that. I should get that on a t-shirt. EA2K pig.
That is good.
Devs might actually end up charging $80 for a 2-hour game. What kind of fucking self-respecting developer listens to one goon on the internet say that maybe this game could be too long? I didn't even say that 175 hours is too long, and I think a lot of people misconstrued that. I said, I think The Witcher 3 is too long because its story is drip-fed to you in a way that I don't think is as satisfying as if it gave you the story faster. That does not mean the game is bad. That does not mean that the Cyberpunk could be bad. I think loads of people commented, this is a good point to bring up one of my comments. Let me just quickly find it. Loads of people kind of memeing it, being like, 175 hours, oh, that's a drop in the ocean for me on this game, this game.
Or whatever.
Yeah, Skyrim was a popular one. It's like, yeah, I spent a lot of time in Skyrim.
Warcraft.
Yeah, where's one? It was really good. Oh, my fucking internet's been super slow and not loading any of my shit. But all of those games you list are games you like. There was one guy, he had like 7 games, like Skyrim, Minecraft, World of Warcraft, The Witcher, even a Call of Duty game, presumably on multiplayer. They're all games you like. Of course you're going to spend time on that. You're not going to think they're too long. The Cyberpunk you haven't fucking played yet. There's a chance, and given the amount of hype, it's even more likely than perhaps it could be, that you're going to dislike it. You don't know you're going to like it. I probably will. I'm quite sure I will. I'm sure most of you are. But not necessarily. It could be really shit. It could be really fucking boring. It could be really repetitive.
Probably not, but it could be.
And it could be, just as easily, it could be the most immersive game you've ever played. The most compelling narrative you've ever seen. In which case, 175 hours, that's going to be great. Yeah. In a game you like, in a game you enjoy. But if it's really boring, 175 hours to complete just the main quest or whatever. I mean, I even said in the video, that's not just what this is for this guy, for the dev who was playing. 175 hours of a game you don't like is awful.
Yeah.
That sucks.
There you go. I mean, we could talk about this all day, but yeah, it's horses for courses. It's like, if you like the game, it doesn't feel like it. You don't want it to end. You can play it forever. But if a game's repetitive, you might like it for 5 hours. If you do the same thing over and over and over again for the next 40 hours after that, there's going to be a point where you lose interest, and I think that's what happened with you in Valhalla, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I said in that video, I think in that specific video, the 175 hours one, that Valhalla and The Witcher 3 are both too long. The Witcher 3 is a significantly better game than Valhalla. Valhalla is desperately trying to emulate it, as well, so many games are these days. But it doesn't mean I dislike either of them on balance. Yeah. I think on balance, I still do think Valhalla is... It's a good game. Once it's updated and actually fucking fixed, it won't be a buggy piece of shit. It's going to be better on next gen, or now current gen. Much better than Watch Dogs. I really didn't enjoy Watch Dogs. And so this leads into this comment which I've got, which I think is from last week's podcast, from Cinnamon Green. I think people just assume you hate games when you say it's too long. That's absolutely what fucking happens.
Yeah.
Absolute. This is the shit which is the worst part of doing anything on the internet.
Just take it personal.
Yeah. I don't fucking hate it. And I even said 2 or 3 times in that video, even if it is too long, I'm still going to play it to fucking death. I'm still going to sink all the time. And if the story takes 175 hours, it's going to take 175 hours. And I'm going to finish it.
Yeah. That leads into the next comment I've got by the gamer Grandma, who comments, when you're retired, 175 hours is a gift. Smiley face.
See, I love that she's a gamer grandma. I think that's rad if that's actually the case. That's awesome. And yeah, you've got all the time. You've got time to
exactly. And that's another balance, a life balance, isn't it? If you had all the time in the world, you didn't have to do your job anymore, which this gamer grandma doesn't. Who cares how long a game is? Doesn't care. Yeah. Horses for courses, each to their own. For us, we're busy, man. We're busy. Leading these jet set lifestyles on YouTube.
So on the same fucking note, on the same video, this is from Chris Massey, and it's just not anything I ever fucking did. Really, you're moaning, incorrect use of "your," by the way. Really, you're moaning about 175 hours in one game? Try Skyrim countless hours on that game. No punctuation, by the way. Try Skyrim countless hours on that game across multiple platforms, and I'm doing it again for the PS3 for the final time. Xbox 360, PS4, I've done it on so far. I'm not a DLC person, so that's just the base game. Okay, so that's a brag about how much time he spent on Skyrim. Once again, Skyrim's a game you like. You like Skyrim. So it's not going to be too long. You want more. You want more of the world. That's awesome. It's not going to be too long for you. You don't fucking know that you like Cyberpunk yet. Wait till you play it. And I didn't moan that it was too long. I said that it could be. It could be too fucking long. Like, I never said that. And once again, as I said just moments ago, even if it is 175 hours of just story, that's 175 hours of story that I'm going to be playing, along with all of the extra side shit. I didn't moan about it.
All right. Let's take a breath, and shall we move on to another, like, unrelated comment? I've got one here.
Oh, I don't know. I've got another one.
Oh, have
probably.
You? Okay. Do you want to?
No, I don't know.
Do you want to beat this dead horse anymore? No. Okay. Good. I got another comment here on something totally unrelated. Malachi Abyss says, personally, I love Henry's stupid haircut. You're a handsome boy, Henry. Winky face. Keep up the good work, guys. PGG has become my #1 gaming podcast. R.I.P. John Bain, a.k.a. Total Biscuit. Well, thanks for the supportive, kind, and complimentary comment there, Mr. Malachi Abyss. We really appreciate these comments, even though we read out all the abusive ones every single week. It's good to throw in a nice one every now and then.
Yeah, it is. I mean, funny thing is, my hair's slightly different. Even though
he's wrong about your
today.
Hair.
But yeah, well, I mean, as I said before, I don't give a shit. Talk about my visuals and shit all you want. Call me ugly. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, my hair's slightly different in most videos because I tend to change it up a little bit because I'm remarkably self-conscious and vain at the same time.
Okay, on that note, I'm going to read the next one because it kind of leads in. Justin Krezelak, talking of you being vain. Henry, I own 3 shirts. YouTuber.
Oh yeah, I think a few people have been cottoning on. Long fucking loss.
Only been 8, 9 months, 10 months since we've been using all the same
of those intro. There are 4. All of the intros, all of the outros. They were recorded in February.
Yeah.
I'm currently wearing a different shirt to either of those. It has Chewbacca on it and says a bunch of words associated with him. And I had a couple people comment on. I killed my video to try and give it a bit of a rejig.
That's cool.
A few people have been commenting saying, "Where'd you get that Last of Us hoodie?" And I was like, "Oh, here's the link, but it's sold out, so you can't get it." I think that's happened like 3 times. But yeah, I may eventually re-record some new ones.
I'm surprised,
but I kind of enjoy this kind of narrative that's going on.
I'm just so surprised that it's taken so long for people to cotton on. It's like
Cloney even suggested once swapping them, having a different intro and a different outro and a different outfit. And I keep thinking about doing it, but I never end up doing it. So I might do that at one point.
There you go. Yeah, I'm surprised it's taking so long. I've got one more comment, but if you got...
You should notice my hair length changes and my beard length changes. It even changes between those videos. Anyway.
Do you have another comment?
Yes. Okay, well, while on the topic of my looks, this one is a video about Sony exec Jim Ryan saying new IPs are risky and they cost $100 million. But also there was Last of Us TV show has officially been picked up for a full season, which is good news for that show. And I talked about some casting choices, one of which is a girl called Caitlin Dever, who looks a lot like Ellie, but I've not seen any of her work. So this person's comment says, from Gregory Gunn, whose picture is Admiral Akbar, so you know he's going to have a good opinion. Hey Henry, want to hear something funny? I always thought Caitlin Dever looks like you. You sure she's not your little sister? And now I'm sure, hopefully Gaz, you can throw up a picture of Caitlin Dever at this point in the podcast so you can see. Do you think she looks like me, Caitlin Dever? I don't think she does.
I don't know. I think
I don't see it.
I'm not sure I see it really. No, I mean I think your beard's not as good as hers.
I think I have a sister, and even my sister doesn't look like her.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I don't see it.
No, I don't see it, but
it is funny. It is funny. You were right.
I get compared to all different. I've had loads of comparisons over my time on YouTube, so I'm not going to say that this guy's wrong. Who knows how they see you, Henry? But there you go.
However you see me, that's fine. I definitely look like a girl. Like, there's no two ways about it. Anytime the concept of, like, you know, people like Johnny Depp who wear like eyeliner and stuff, and they make it work because they look cool and kind of like rock and roll. If I do it because I've had to do it for like Halloween or whatever, I don't look cool. I just look like a girl. I just look very, very feminine. So it's not the kind of thing that works on me. I look girly enough as it is. So
there we go. I've got another comment, and my last one actually, and talking of looks, Tattoo Dr. Doke comments, "You're 40? What you're getting for your birthday, What you getting for your birthday, Benjamin Button syndrome? You look about 27. I'll take that.
Well, there you go. Very, very, very flat.
I like the follow-up, though, because FR Ted Crilly commented back, brown nose.
Kiss ass, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I remember getting ID'd for alcohol when I was like 29, and I was well chuffed. And I'm like, yeah. Wow. In my local Morrison's, I made a big thing about, yeah, what, really? When I'm 29 years old? And I was like, oh, well, look, I've been ID'd. And that was one of my final, my final most proud moments. But
it's we take the piss out of the baby face people.
That's it.
Like,
I've had baby face all my life. It's coming in now. I'm cashing in on my baby face.
You're playing the long game.
That's it. Yeah. It's just I act like a 12-year-old, so that kind of helps too.
Yeah, that's true. You're wildly immature. Okay, I've got one final question. I think it's kind of funny in relation to the main topic of scalpers today, from Dry Rice Fields, and I can't remember which video it was on. Cyberpunk something. I've done so many Cyberpunk videos, it's a pain. Sucks I have to play Cyberpunk on PS4 because only 10 PS5s exist throughout the world. Yeah, because you can't fucking get one. I won't lie, there's been a little bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, a little bit of that creeping. I'm like, or I mean, a PS5 I could do with one, but I'm like, thankfully, even if I really did want one, I can't fucking buy it because there's none in stock.
You'll be alright.
But yeah, there we go. That's all of my comments.
That's all the comments for this week. Thanks everybody who do comment on our YouTube videos during the week. And let's move on to our next segment, which is the bad dad joke of the week. My wife's mad at me because she said I never buy her flowers. Honestly, I didn't even know she sold flowers. That one was I. I've got another one. A boat builder is proudly showing his young son the family forest. He turns to him and says, "Son, one day, all of this will be ours." Ours.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that was pretty lame. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with...
I'm glad I sneezed through that one.
Disrespectfully. Let's do another one. 3 men... this is from Marcus Hicks, by the way. 3 men are stranded in a boat with 4 cigarettes and no way to light them. So they toss the 4th cigarette overboard, which makes the whole boat a cigarette lighter. That's good, right?
That's good.
Thanks, Master.
It's quite original as well.
Yeah, I like that one. And that's your lot for the bad dad jokes for this week. And that only leaves the very last segment, which is the ending segment. It's a lot of people's favorite.
Everyone's favorite
segment, because we get to shut up and you get to get on with your day. But this is where I say thank you everybody for watching and listening. Thanks to Henry for participating in the podcast, and thanks on behalf of myself to you. I've thanked everybody. I at least thank myself too. Thank me for being...
You're winning an Oscar or something here with these thanks?
I don't know. I'm trying to make something out of the end segment, aren't I? I'm built it up too much now. Yeah, so that's it for this week. If you do want to support the content and help us bring more videos and more podcasts in the future, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You get early access up to 2 days for this podcast. And if you're watching or listening right now, then you must enjoy us to some extent. And you know, we do struggle. That isn't... I'm not lying to you there. We're struggling. So any help is appreciated. On that note, we will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.